Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Jake and this is Fantastic Findings Hidden Seasons. So what is this? Well, in the developer's words, get into the coziest Christmas spirit in this highly detailed 3D hidden object game. Explore many varied levels packed with hidden items waiting to be found. Search drawers, unwrap gifts, clean off dirt, cobwebs, eat treats, and find hidden cookies in a festive hunt full of surprises. And I think that sums it up pretty well. This is essentially a hidden object finding game, and you have to do just that. You have to go and find all of the hidden objects. Now, before I get into this review, I do want to disclose that I was in fact given a review key for this. So I'd just like to say, first of all, massive thank you to the developer for providing that and supporting this channel. But also, that is not going to influence this review at all. My opinions are my own, and I cannot be swayed by review keys or anything like that. So jumping straight into this then, I always want to start with the optimization. How does this game run? It runs pretty well. I have not had any issues with it at all. It runs very well, actually, very smoothly. I think whatever machine you're on, you're gonna be able to run this game. It doesn't seem too graphically impressive, and the minimum specs are also really low, so yeah, I don't think you're going to have any problems with this. In terms of optimization settings, there aren't many. There is just a generic graphics preset that you can switch. So I would like to see more graphical features added in at some point. But as it stands right now for this kind of game, I think this is good enough. And speaking of performance, let's jump straight into the bugs because there are a few. There's nothing crazy in here, nothing game breaking or that will ruin your experience, but there are just a few things that I noticed. So first of all, kind of a big one, although I don't really know if I'd call this a bug. But when I started playing this game, there wasn't any profile feature and the developer eventually added it in. And when I created a new profile, it just completely wiped my save. Again, I don't know if I'd classify this as a bug, but this has been the most game-breaking thing that I've experienced so far. And yeah, like I said, my save was just completely wiped, so I had to replay the levels from the beginning, which kind of sucked, but also was kind of on me because I was curious about what this little reindeer icon was. But just be aware, create one profile and just play from that. If you do create a second, you might lose your first one. I'm not too sure. But other than that, it was really just minor bugs like floating characters and clipping issues with some of the objects. I really only noticed this on the train level. I think that's where it was at its worst. I think because the train is moving, it kind of broke the physics or something. But pretty much most of the characters in that are floating, and there are just like weird objects that clip together and clip out of the train as well. Just a little bit of jankiness there, which again, I assume is to do with that level because I haven't noticed it anywhere else. And also sometimes the mouse can be a little bit off accuracy too. I'm not too sure what's going on. It's really only with the UI and the menus here, but sometimes when you try and click a button to get a hint or you're trying to navigate the options or whatever, your mouse, it just isn't quite centered, so you sometimes have to be above the button just to actually click it. It's a little bit weird. Again, nothing game breaking, but just something that I noticed playing through. And that's about all the bugs I noticed. So let's jump into the actual gameplay then. How does this game play? What is it like? What do I think of it? Well, first of all, I want to talk about the camera. Because the way this game works is obviously you go around each level and you try and find a bunch of hidden objects and hidden sweets and candies and all sorts of things like that. And to be able to do that, you need to navigate the world freely, and you can. This game has basically a free camera that you navigate with your mouse, and you use the middle mouse button to rotate and use WSD to move around. Now, my problem with this is that using the middle mouse button isn't exactly comfortable. My mouse, the way it works, I have to press the middle mouse down quite hard. So by the time I've ended up finishing a level, my finger's actually aching and I'm kind of just over it by then. Because using the middle mouse button is just generally uncomfortable. Now you can use Q and E to rotate the camera as well, but I just found this kind of unnatural and I have a much easier time just using the mouse. So I really wish you could rebind it to like right click or something that's like a lot more comfortable. Because the middle mouse as it stands right now just isn't comfortable, and it prevents me from playing as well, because like I said, by the time I finish the level, I'm kind of over it. Like my hand hurts, I'm done, I want to tap out, you know? So I'd like to see that added in the future. And while I'm mentioning keybinds as well, there are currently no keybinds in this game at all. You can't rebind your keys, you're stuck with whatever it is by default. This is planned to be added at some point in the future, but as it stands right now, that is not an option. So if you're not a WASD player or you want to rebind your mouse, if your middle mouse button doesn't work, just be aware you are going to have to deal with what the game gives you, at least until that's patched in. And jumping back to the camera here, like I said, it is kind of difficult to navigate the levels with the middle mouse, but also the camera in general can just be a little bit finicky at times. Not all the time, but sometimes I do find myself getting stuck on objects, or if I'm trying to navigate into a small space, it's just a little bit difficult to get up there. So I would like to see some kind of first-person mode added to this game where you can just fly around with your camera and it works just like a free cam first person mode. You know, just give me a basic cursor on the middle of my screen, let me fly around freely and just click on objects. I also just think that would make it a lot easier to find objects in the game as well. Navigating some things on this, like when you're trying to find an object in a Christmas tree, oh my god dude, the Christmas trees make me want to cry. They're so difficult to find the objects with. I just think things like that would be a lot easier with first person. So that is something I'd like to see added in the future for sure. But like I said, it's not something that's going to break the game for you, especially if you've played hidden object games before, because most of them have always been 2D. This is like the first 3D one I've ever found. But just for me personally, yeah, I'd love to see a first person mode added, just because the camera can be a little bit finicky at times. But let's jump into the gameplay here. How does this game actually play? Well, if you're like me and you have pretty bad eyes, you're gonna struggle with it. The one thing this game has done really well is highlight to me just how bad my eyes are. I've actually had to ask my wife for help a lot in some of these levels because I'm just blind as fuck and I'm like missing the easiest thing to see. It's like right in the center of my screen. She's like there and I'm like, oh yeah, okay. But it's not all just me. There are some really tough objects hidden in this game that are really well hidden, maybe unfairly so. Now, the way it works is you have 3 stars on each level, and these 3 stars are split into categories. You have your main objects that are at the bottom. You can get hints for these, and for the most part, they're usually pretty easy to find. Admittedly, I do have to use the hints quite often, but with the hints, they're pretty easy to find. They're pretty fair. The things that I struggle with more are the cookies and the debris. As I mentioned at the start of the video, you do have to go around the level and also clean it up a little bit. You'll be cleaning piles of hay and piles of coal, and also eating any snacks that you find along the way. These, however, you do not get hints for, unfortunately, so they can be a little tricky to find. I actually 100%ed the first 2 levels getting everything you could find, but by the time I finished those, I started kind of just giving up a little bit and just doing the main objectives, because they're just a little bit too tricky to find, especially without hints. So hopefully that's something that will get added in the future. I know there is a new hint system that's planned on being added that will highlight the room that you're still missing objects in. Hopefully that does apply to food and debris as well, because it is just a little bit too annoying, I think, as it stands. There's a lot of these objects, they're hidden super well sometimes. And with huge levels, you know, you get to the end and you realize, oh, I've missed like 5 cookies. Trying to find them is just an absolute pain in the ass that I just don't personally find fun. So I'd like to see something added on that kind of makes that a bit easier if you choose to use it. But other than that though, I have been having an absolute great time in this game. It has such a cute charm to it and such a cute vibe. A lot of the levels on here are made with so much love. You can just tell that this is like a pure passion project. There are so many hidden little secrets all over these levels with just like little animations playing with little different characters that you can find, or sometimes even hidden achievements with objects that you can click on and interact with. This game just absolutely oozes charm and passion, and I love it. And speaking of the characters as well, this game does have a very light story to it. I haven't finished it yet, I'm about halfway through the game. But essentially in each level you are trying to find Santa's missing reindeer, and along the way during the level you'll find other characters that will be in kind of silly poses that you'll find, or in just silly situations in general. I actually had a few laugh out loud moments while playing this, and I wasn't expecting that from this game. So again, you can just tell that it's made with pure love, pure passion, and I think the level design and the characters and the poses and animations, that all just really reflects that. But while I'm still speaking about the level design, I do also want to mention the time of day, because levels in this game do have their own set time of day. Some of them will be at night while others will be during the day. And I do wish there was a way to change this. I wish you could pick what time you want it to be as you do the level. It's not a massive issue or anything like that, it's just a nice little quality of life thing I'd like. because sometimes I'm playing this game early in the morning and sometimes I'm playing it late at night. I just like to be able to set the level to reflect the kind of mood that I'm in. So if the developer is watching this, I'd love to see that in the future if you get a chance. So as it stands right now, there are 8 levels in the game currently, and they seem pretty big, that they're huge. They'll take you about an hour to get through each, especially if you're trying to 100% it. It's probably going to take you even longer. But there is also a bunch of content planned for the future with this game, which genuinely surprised me. Now, this is a fully released game, this isn't early access or anything like that, but in the future the developer plans to add new game modes, a Halloween season, and other levels based on other seasons as well, which obviously right now we're yet to see whether that will actually happen, but if it does, that's going to be really impressive because this already feels like a complete package for $11.99. So if the developer does live up to these future plans and adds more levels and more seasons to the game, man, that's going to be an absolute recommended buy from me. And the very final thing that I want to talk about is just the soundtrack real quick, because this game uses, I think it's licensed Christmas songs, but they kind of have their own little unique spin on it. I'm not actually sure if I'm going to get copyrighted by playing the music in this video, but who cares? But the songs are a joy to listen to, it really adds to the atmosphere, and on top of that there is even a little music player in the bottom right so you can skip certain songs if you're not into them, and you can just pause it and turn it off completely as well at a click of a button. This is something I wouldn't have even thought about if it wasn't there, but I think it being there again is just a testament to how much love and passion this game is truly made with. One of the songs actually has a doorbell in it that plays quite a lot, and it freaked the fuck out of my dog, so I'm sorry, Mr. Developer, but you are actually gonna lose a point for that one because please don't freak out my dog. But honestly guys, that's about all I have to say on this one. My overall conclusion then is that I highly do recommend it. If you're into hidden objects games, you are gonna have an absolute blast at this. And if you've never played a hidden objects game, this is definitely a good one to make your first. I am in that bandwagon. I have actually never played a game like this outside of Sam & Max, and this one has definitely got me into the genre. For $11.99, I don't think you can go wrong. So if you want to be in a festive mood, you want to explore a little interesting world with charming characters, I absolutely do recommend picking up Fantastic Findings Hidden Seasons. Once again, I'd just like to say a huge thank you to the developer for providing a key with this and supporting the channel. I really do appreciate it. But most importantly, I want to thank you so much for watching. If this video helped you, please be sure to leave a like and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It does help me out an absolute ton. On this channel, I review games, cover games, and just do general discussion about games. So if you're into all things gaming, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. It really does help me out. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been Jake, and I will see you next time.